constitutional rights in the protest. We still advocate nonviolence, passive resistance, and still determined to use the weapon of love. And I can say that there is no bitterness on my part as a result of the decision, and I'm sure that I voice the sentiment of the more than 40,000 Negro citizens of Montgomery. We still have the attitude of love. We still have the method of passive resistance, and we are still insisting emphatically that violence is self-defeating, and that he who lives by the sword will perish by the sword.
It has been suggested also that this movement preaches a gospel of violence.
No, the black people in this country have been the victims of violence at the hands of the white man for 400 years. And following the ignorant Negro preachers, we have thought that it was godlike to turn the other cheek to the brute that was brutalizing us. And today, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is showing black people in this country that just as the white man and every other person on this earth has God-given rights, natural rights, civil rights, any kind of rights that you can think of when it comes to defending himself, black people we should have the right to defend ourselves also. And because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad makes black people brave enough, men enough to defend ourselves no matter what the odds are, the white man runs around here with the doctrine that Mr. Muhammad is advocating violence when he's actually telling Negroes to defend themselves against violent people.
Reverend Martin Luther King preaches a doctrine of nonviolent insistence upon the rights of the American Negro. What is your attitude toward this philosophy?
The white man pays Reverend Martin Luther King, subsidizes Reverend Martin Luther King, so that Reverend Martin Luther King can continue to teach the Negroes to be defenseless. That's what you mean by nonviolent. Be defenseless. Be defenseless in the face of one of the most cruel beasts that has ever taken the people into captivity. That's this American white man. And they have proved it throughout the country by the police dogs and the police clubs. 100 years ago, they used to put on a white sheet and use a bloodhound against Negroes. Today, they've taken off the white sheet and put on police uniforms. They've traded in the bloodhounds for police dogs, and they're still doing the same thing. And just as Uncle Tom, back during slavery, used to keep the Negroes from resisting the bloodhound or resisting the Ku Klux Klan by teaching them to love their enemy or pray for those who use them despitefully. Today, Martin Luther King is just a 20th century or modern Uncle Tom or a religious Uncle Tom who is doing the same thing today to keep Negroes defenseless in the face of attack that Uncle Tom did on the plantation to keep those Negroes defenseless in the face of the attack of the Klan in that day.
Malcolm X, one of the most articulate exponents of the black Muslim philosophy, has said of your movement and your philosophy that it plays into the hands of the white oppressors, that they are happy to hear you talk about love for the oppressor because this disarms the Negro and fits into the stereotype of the Negro as a neat, turning the other cheek sort of creature. Would you care to comment on Mr. X's beliefs?
Well, I don't think of love as, in this context, as emotional bosh. I don't think of it as a weak force. But I think of love as something strong and that organizes itself into powerful direct action. Now, this is what I try to teach in the
Malcolm X
South, that we are not engaged
versus Martin Luther King. See, back in them days, brothers and sisters, it was terrible, but for the black man, black woman back in them days, no law and order, no laws wasn't passed like they have laws now. This was way before the 1964 Civil Rights Act was passed. Martin Luther King went in the right direction and doing what he did concerning the situation at that particular time for black people. These people was racism real worse than what they is now. You know what I'm saying? See what they doing now, they undercover. A lot of them undercover now. And you got new people in this country and they undercover. So you got old racism and new racism now in America. But see, the old racism is not as bad as the races now. The races now is sugar-coated, like through your different race of people, attorneys. You know, racist attorneys who abuse the legal profession, racist people. They still treat you black, educated black people like slaves. Do you understand that? They still treat you like slaves. You educated black people. You so-called educated black politicians, they still treat you like slaves. Okay? They don't have no respect for you. You educated black man, black woman, you got educated doctors, lawyers, educated politicians, but they still treat you like a slave. Because guess what? You let them treat you like a slave. Nobody don't do nothing to you unless you let it happen to you. Okay? So Malcolm X was talking about the debate between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. What they was talking about, Malcolm X did not like his nonviolent situation towards dealing with black people issues. But Martin Luther King had to deal with that situation concerning nonviolence at that particular time. Okay? Malcolm X wanted to deal with it violently. But Malcolm X wanted to deal with it violently. But Martin Luther King wanted to deal with it peacefully. So they had a debate on that. But they finally pulled together and talked and talked about the situation and resolved it. But like I said to you young black men and black women today, you know, you need to know your histories. You know, because if you don't know your history, you bound to come back on you if you don't know your history. Brothers and sisters, that's all I got to say. Peace and love, brothers and sisters, on the situation with the debate between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Peace and love, brother.